Okay, what red flags did I see with regards to Taylor Swift? I am working through my Unculture Yourself workbook that comes out January 20th with the Culting of America, and I am using it to deconstruct Swiftianity. As someone who was a Swiftie for 20 years, this has been a really big thing for me. And, I say I was a lyric Swiftie, not a drama Swiftie, and I was deploying to war and having babies and all of this stuff, not necessarily paying attention to the news. However, one of the trends that we see when people enter cults is not that they don't see the red flags, it's that they talk themselves past them or they are talked past them. And I still want to be very clear. I do not think being a Swiftie is a cult. A cult is a group that is coercing you, right? But it is certainly an ideology, and we deconstruct ideologies or worldviews that we are given. I talk a lot about this in The Culting of America. So, somebody wanted to know more about what red flags I saw with her because I said, I didn't see her as a leader. I saw her as an alternate version of me, like the me I could have been without all the trauma, the me that is a great performer, the me that loves being on stage and moving people and all of that, right? So, what were the red flags? Okay, I had to go to my extra notes in the back of the book to work on it. All right. So first of all, the one of the biggest ones for me looking back that I think we all missed was so she had a song that came out in her first album, which came out when she was 16, called Picture to Burn. And in that song, a guy has cheated on her and, high school cheated. And she's really, really mad. And she says at one point, I'll tell my friends that you're gay, right? Couple years later, she came back and changed this and changed it to, I won't mind if I say, or I hope you don't mind if I say, right? And I think we did this thing that white people do, and that's really part of white supremacy, which is giving the benefit of the doubt because we're thinking about ourselves and our own good intentions, right? So I think we were all like, a little embarrassed over saying that's so gay all of the time. And I, as a 20-year-old, when she changed this lyric, I was like, yeah, I mean, if someone had videos and recordings of me, like I used to say that when I was just dropped into American culture and everyone was saying that. And I know it was always horrible, right? But we didn't know that at the time, right? Like that was a saying that people said, and we should have known better. And as soon as we knew better, I think most of us tried to do better, right? And nobody really says that anymore. But here's what we missed, it wasn't about her just saying, that's so gay, right? She was actually saying, because you wounded me, I am going to go destroy your reputation with a lie. That's what she was saying. That's the little personality thing that we missed. Okay. It's first red flag. Second one, fake accent. Her country accent. It was so fake. She didn't even phase it out well. It just disappeared. And I think maybe she would have gotten away with it if she hadn't started re-releasing all her stuff. And we all started to be like, oh, how's she gonna do the accent again? And not have it be obvious to everyone that it was just put on. Well, turns out it was obvious, right? So why was she doing that in the first place? Turns out I don't think any of it was genuine. I think she was just built like a product by her parents. And when I found out that her high school diploma came from a cult evangelical homeschool program, I was like, oh, she's exactly like me. We were built as little performing products. And her parents, like many cult music kids, put her into country music. One, because racism and white supremacy, and two, because they thought that would be her best chance. Right? So even though she was not country in any way, they moved to Nashville, she got her fake accent, and they went for it. Right? Third red flag, the girl squad with only perfect women. And I remember this one did really bother me at the time. I was just leaving the military. I was just dealing with who I was and what my identity as a woman was going to be. And she was being so fake and plastic, and I didn't like it at all. And that leads me to the performative allyship that started to come out with the Lover album and on. And then all the lying, all the lying. She's been lying to us for 20 years. But of course, we didn't necessarily understand that until Tortured Poets Department came out, right? Because here's what happened. She told us that Folklore and Evermore were not about real people. They were not about her. They were not diaristic stories for the first time ever, songs that she was just making up characters during COVID when her brain went to a weird place, just like everyone else. And we took her at her word. We said, okay. And we defended that. And then she was going to release Midnights. And she told us, these is a concept album. These were 13 nights of my life that, you know, were sleepless nights. Okay, so we took it that way. And then she broke up with Joe Alwyn. So we were like, oh, we're going to get a breakup album. Then she announces Torture Poets Department. And then it was all about Maddie Healy. And that's when we realized she'd been lying to us for a decade, right? And that Midnights had been the breakup album about Joe. And that in fact, much of Folklore and Evermore were about Maddie Healy. And she even says, right, swirled you into all of my poems, right? So just lying, lying, lying. And then there's the actual lying about political stuff, right? So this person goes on to say, I'm curious what red flags you saw, especially because I myself over the last year fell under the spell of Taylor Swift after basically ignoring her for 20 years. And now I'm sitting here feeling the same disillusionment. The first time I watched the Eras tour, I thought all of these songs sound the same to me. I just don't get why everyone is so obsessed with her. I never followed the boyfriends or the drama between her and the other celebrities, but I did start studying her career and her lyrics and buying into the notion that she was a genius. And that's kind of been it for me too. Like, I bought into her genius and I have studied her as a businesswoman for 20 years. The second time I watched Eras, I was singing along to every song and totally into it. I loved feeling like I finally understood and had earned entry into the fandom. Showgirl was the first album launch of hers that I was ever excited about and actually wanted to participate in. I dressed up for it when I went to the theater. And while I was a bit disappointed in it upon first listen, I found myself trying to find the hidden meaning in it all. When the first criticisms of the album started circulating, I found myself being defensive of her, saying, come on guys, that's a bit of a stretch. Then I started listening to Black creators breaking down their criticism and learning more about Travis Kelce's history of dating Black women and contextualizing it all, and I started to see the writing on the wall and realized that I had been duped too. It made me feel like all the investment I had made into becoming a fan of hers was a waste of time and energy, and now I'm questioning why I bought in the first place. And that was really similar for me with this album release. Like, I was already stepping away from being a Swiftie. Oh, finally, when she bought $3 million earrings, she owns the most expensive earrings in the world, those big diamond ones that she wore. I was just like, gross, gross. I'm starting to realize that you're breaking the social contract with us, which in my opinion was that if we, her obsessive fans, pushed her to the top, she would then go after the man. Instead, she's become the man. She's marrying the man, and she's betraying everything we thought. We really made the wrong person famous. And then, you know, I felt lied to about this album. I felt that she implied very heavily that we were going to get sequins and energy to fight fascism. And instead we got, I'm in love with Travis Kelce and I don't care that the world is burning down. Gross. I just can't do it anymore. If you don't have something to say right now, shut up. And then bringing back the word bitches. She specifically has talked about the word bitch and how it's used to harm women and that she's removed it from her vocabulary. And then she has a line in Showgirl about all these bitches waiting for her to die. No, friend. Sorry. I'm done. Now I see the red flags very clearly. Often, as BoJack Horseman says, all the red flags just look like flags if you're wearing rose-colored glasses. Check out Unculture Yourself workbook and The Culting of America, linked in the bio, attached here. Comes out January 20th.